Sports on Prime Time now. I'm Gary Al Smith. We have some news from the Ghana Premier League. Very interesting. The Premier League board asking Kotoko to meet a certain deadline, and also the earth-shattering news from the Confederation of African Football happening today, and a bit of this and that from myjoyonline.com. I'm Gary Al Smith, and we have the details now. As you know, Asante Kotoko are keeping everybody waiting as to when they will be ready to continue playing in the country's top football competitions, being the FA Cup, which is just next week, and also the Ghana Premier League, which is ongoing. This is as a result of the Fabulous Club's accident a week ago, which saw 2 dead. Now, according to the Premier League board, the Kumasi-based club have to be ready to play before week 25, quashing any doubts from a lot of quarters that Asante Kotoko will have to be given a leave for the rest of the season.
The PLB reviewed the medical report submitted to it by Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And the medical report clearly declared Kotoko medically unfit to play and said that only 6 players could be back on the pitch soon. Even that one, the report did not state when would they be back. What was a bit categorical was the fact that the rest of the players who have been examined would need not less than 2 weeks to return to training and then get back to play. So in view of that, the board decided that week 24 should go ahead this weekend without Asante Kotoko. And then in between week 24 and week 25, there are FA Cup matches. The quarterfinals of the FA Cup will be played. And then the next round of league matches will be week 25, by which time the board hopes Kotoko will be back. If we are to go by the 2 weeks minimum time frame that the medical report gave. So that's what the board is anticipating, that hopefully the players will be medically fit to play in 2 weeks. But if by the 25th week the Kotoko players are still not ready to play, then the board has decided that the entire league will be on hold until a time that Kotoko will be declared medically fit to take part in the league.
So that's it for Kotoko. Let's have a look at what all this means in the context of the Ghana Premier League table, shall we? Why do we need Kotoko to come back soon? You understand, because if they don't, it's going to put the relegation dogfight in a bit of a tizzy. Asante Kotoko, as you know, are 4th on the table, so it's important that they play all their games so that we can get the champion and those in the top 4 quickly. Wafa are on top. Adriana Stars are on 43 together with Wafa. Hearts on 36 and Kotoko on 35, meaning that if Kotoko don't play their games, it might put things a bit out of order. Mediama on 34, Bichem are on 32. Let's go to the other side of the table. Even the team on 7th, remember, Kotoko have 35 points. Inter Allies have 32. There's 31 for Dwarfs, 31 for Wild Stars, 30 for Brekum Chelsea. Elmina Sharks have 30. Tama Youth have 28 as well. And then the final part of the table, where it's still a bit close, Ash Gold have 28. And remember, Kotoko are 4th and have 35 points. Things are very tight in the Ghana Premier League, and the bottom 3 look like that. It's been an interesting 3 days in Rabat in Morocco. In that city, the Confederation of African Football have been deliberating in a gathering they called the CAF Symposium, and the theme was the future of African football. They spoke about a lot of things. Now, 4 key things were agreed upon, and I've simplified them just for you in terms of the decisions taken today and yesterday as well. So first of all, We know that today, if you have not been following the news, the African Cup of Nations has changed forever from 2019. The CAF ESCO passed a resolution to increase the tournament from 16 to 24. And then the next thing we saw was that the 24-team AFCON takes effect from 2019 in Cameroon, and the next AFCON will be happening in that country. If we can take a look at that. Now, the third one is that the AFCON 2019 will be held in June instead of the usual January date. We can click on it to enlarge it and have a look at it. Also, CAF says that the AFCON will exclusively be held on African soil with African national teams. This is in response to the earlier ideas that the AFCON should be taken away from the African countries and taken to places like China, USA, and so on. But the big question is Cameroon 2019 going to happen? Because as we will hear right now, the country's infrastructure may not be in 100% shape for that tournament. Let's go over to Cameroon now and speak to the sports editor for the national television station, CRTV, Simon Lionga. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, Gary. Good evening. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. So, the AFCON has been increased from 16 to 24. Is your country ready for a 24-team AFCON?
First of all, Gary, it will be difficult to say Cameroon is ready for a 24-nation AFCON. You know, when the right of the 2019 AFCON was attributed to Cameroon, it was on the basis of the fact that it was going to be a 6. And so the terms of reference held that 4 stadiums to hold the competition alongside, of course, the training facilities, medical, and of course, all what you know about the Organization of African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
Now it is going to 24. And when we go to 24, it means we are going to have about 6 stadiums, and everything is going to increase by at least 50%.
Wow.
So, on the day of the increase that Cameroon is ready is not very, very evident, Gary. But if you want to look at it from the look of things, I think Cameroon can be ready to host the competition. I say so because, you know, last year we hosted the Women's African Cup of Nations, which we call the AFCON.
Yeah.
We hosted with two stadiums. Already there are some infrastructure that have been developed out here in Cameroon. For example, we have a that has been constructed in Limbe. There is a new stadium that has been constructed in Bafoussam. There is the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé that has been completely rehabilitated. So already there are 3 stadiums that are already operational. After away from that, we have 2 stadiums that have been operational, but that need to be reconstructed. Not reconstructed, but rehabilitated. That is the Reunification Stadium in Palau, and of course, stadium in Garwa. So in those 2 stadiums, which are already being rehabilitated, come to add to the lot, are going to have 5.
All right, Simon, quickly, before we don't have a lot of time.
Stadiums that are being constructed, Gary.
Yeah.
So Cameroon can have 7 stadiums by 2019, Gary.
Okay, quickly before you go, and in just 15 seconds, did the Confederation of African Football consult Cameroon before increasing the number from 16 to 24 and expect you to host it in 2 years?
No. I want to say a categorical was never consulted. And so out here, by the time the officials of the FA went to Rabat in Morocco, they knew were 16 teams. Now it is 24 teams to be hosted in less than 2 years. It is almost impossible.
Right. Thank you very much, Simon Lionga. He's the editor-in-chief, the sports editor of the Cameroon Radio Television, CRTV, the state-owned broadcaster in that country. Right. So, final story for today is that the Ghanaian-born National Football League, the NFL star Ezekiel Ansah, has held a clinic for selected schools in Ghana. He is a product of Ghana. He was born and bred in Ghana, schooled in Ghana as well. And here's a report by Abigail Susu. So that's it for the sport. Now we'll play that report for you later. And also you can get the rest of the news involving the African Cup of Nations and all the things discussed in Morocco on myjoyonline.com. I'm Gary Al Smith. I'll be back tomorrow with more.